Thuy Bo Incident. On January 31st, 1967, the Thuy Bo Incident began at Thuy Bo Hamlet, in Been District, Kungnam Province, about 15 kilometers southwest of Neen, where rice paddies and a railroad line cut the flat ground into narrow lanes. Near midday, Hotel Company, 2nd Battalion, 1st Marines moved toward the hamlet on patrol, and the first bursts of fire came from ahead, heavy and sustained. Marines dropped behind low paddy dikes that barely covered a helmet, while rounds snapped through stalks and mud splashed with each impact. Evacuating the wounded quickly became a problem, because open ground offered little shelter, and the fire kept the unit pinned in place. As minutes stretched into hours, the engagement widened. The company commander called for air and artillery support to break the enemy's hold, and by early afternoon, a quick reaction force was requested to reinforce the position. The firefight ran into nightfall, with the company unable to move forward cleanly or withdraw without exposing men in the paddies. Meanwhile, the hamlet itself, homes, bunkers, and field edges, became inseparable from the target area. In a war where guerrillas could fire from within civilian spaces and then disappear, the pressure to treat movement as a threat was always present. That day, it became an operational reality. At dawn on February 1, Marines pushed into Thuy Bo and met only scattered resistance, because the opposing force had largely slipped away during the night. Soon, smoke darkened structures, frightened residents, and the quiet work of collecting bodies and tending the wounded. Afterwards, Vietnamese civilians brought wounded people and the dead to Marine positions, while the battalion treated the civilian losses as a tragic consequence of fighting in and around a populated hamlet. The death toll then hardened into two competing records, one describing a limited number of civilian deaths amid combat, the other commemorating far more. And Thuy Bo became a lasting example of how a single day's firefight can leave a village and an army arguing over the same ground for decades. Wounded Knee Massacre. On December 29, 1890, the Wounded Knee Massacre took place in southwestern South Dakota, where winter had tightened its grip on a people already worn down by hunger, ration cuts, and the shrinking boundaries of reservation life. In the months before, the ghost dance had spread across Lakota communities as a promise of renewal, yet federal agents and local settlers read the gatherings as a warning sign of revolt. Troops moved in, the region filled with rumors, and tension spiked further after Sitting Bull was killed on December 15. Meanwhile, Bigfoot led his Minneconjou band south seeking refuge. Illness slowed them, and cavalry patrols closed the distance. The 7th Cavalry intercepted the band and held them at Wounded Knee. At dawn, soldiers formed a ring around the camp and began a forced disarmament. Blankets were shaken out, lodges searched, and weapons piled as the cold air carried shouted orders in 2 languages. Some men complied, others hesitated, and the standoff narrowed to a single rifle. Black Coyote resisted surrendering his gun, his hands grabbed at the barrel, bodies leaned in, and in the struggle, the weapon discharged. In an instant, discipline gave way to reflex. Rifle fire cracked across the camp, and Hotchkiss guns on the rise added exploding shells that tore through open ground where families ran. The shooting rolled outward from the center, chasing people into ravines and across snow-stiffened prairie. By mid-afternoon, the field was quiet enough to gather the wounded and the dead, and troops withdrew to Pine Ridge under fear of reprisal. Days later, a burial party returned through bitter weather and placed 146 bodies in a mass grave, with more found later, pushing Lakota deaths above 250 and possibly near 300, while about 25 soldiers died in the chaos. In time, Wounded Knee became more than a battlefield name. It hardened into a symbol of policy-driven catastrophe, and later generations continued debating accountability, including the controversial medals awarded to soldiers who took part. If you want to discuss this video and join the idea of the next one, comment below and subscribe to this channel.